What if I told you the reason he's not texting back, the reason he's pulling away, the reason he's not chasing you is because you're doing too much? Hey, beautiful, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm about to flip the script on everything you've been taught about love, effort, and relationships. Because here's the truth that no one wants to say out loud. Chasing a man kills attraction, period. Now I know you've been told that if you like him, you should show it. That love takes effort. That playing hard to get is games. But here's what really happens when you chase. You interrupt his instinct to pursue. You give off "I need you to choose me" energy. And unintentionally, you become the one being chosen last. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how when you finally stop caring, suddenly he calls? When you don't respond right away, he shows up. That's not an accident. That's polarity. That's human psychology. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to stop chasing without being cold, how to shift into your most magnetic feminine energy, and how silence and softness can say everything without saying a word. So if you've ever begged for clarity, overthought your every message, or felt like you're always the one initiating, you're in the right place. Get comfy, grab a pen, because you're about to learn the quiet power that makes him chase you like crazy. Let's begin. Let's talk about what really happens when you're too available. And no, this isn't about playing games or pretending you're busy when you're not. It's about the message your constant availability sends and why it's unintentionally pushing him away. When you're always the first to text, always say yes to plans, or respond immediately every time he reaches out, what you're signaling, without even realizing it, is that your world revolves around him. It tells him, you don't have to try that hard. I'm already here. And while your intention may come from a place of love, excitement, or even just being kind, the reality is this. People value what they have to earn. When something or someone is instantly accessible, the mind subconsciously labels it as less valuable. It's human nature. Think about it. Why do people go crazy for limited edition sneakers or wait in line for hours for an exclusive event? Scarcity builds value. Availability in excess does the opposite. Being too available takes the mystery out of the connection. It removes the anticipation, the curiosity, the tension, and those elements are key to building attraction. Men by nature are wired to pursue. When there's no pursuit, there's no reward. And when there's no reward, interest fades. Worse, being too available can make you start feeling unappreciated. You might notice him taking longer to reply, canceling plans, or acting distant, and suddenly you're overthinking everything. But the truth is, it started with giving too much too soon. And now you feel empty, waiting for a response you once got without question. So what's the fix? It's not about withdrawing or being fake. It's about slowing down, matching energy, letting space exist between interactions so he has room to miss you. You don't need to chase love. You need to allow it to come to you. By creating a little distance, you create desire. You create intrigue. And most importantly, you start commanding the kind of respect and attention that only comes when you know your worth. So no, being too available doesn't make him love you more. It makes him feel like he doesn't have to earn you. And love that isn't earned, it's rarely valued. Silence is one of the most underestimated tools in feminine energy. We often think we need to explain ourselves, fix things, or fill the gaps in conversation to maintain connection. But real power, especially in your feminine, lies in the ability to pause, to not react, to allow the moment to breathe. When a woman is silent, she becomes a mirror. She gives space for a man to feel the absence of her words, her attention, her energy. And in that space, he starts to wonder. He questions. He leans in. That's the beginning of pursuit. Feminine silence isn't coldness. It's not giving the silent treatment to punish him. It's the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need to prove her worth. It's the deep understanding that not everything requires a reaction and that your presence alone is enough. There's a different kind of magnetism that comes when you don't overshare, over-explain, or emotionally spill just to fill space. Your mystery becomes louder than words. Your restraint says, I trust myself. I don't need to convince you of anything. And that creates polarity. Men are used to being pursued emotionally. They're used to women pouring out their feelings, chasing closure, or trying to hold the connection together. But when you go quiet, not out of anger, but from a place of peace and power, you break that pattern. Suddenly, you're not predictable. You're not seeking. You're receiving. And that's when everything shifts. He begins to notice your absence more than he noticed your presence. He replays the last conversation. He starts checking in, reaching out, wondering what you're thinking, and not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're not handing yourself over so easily anymore. Silence gives you space to realign with yourself. It gives him room to rise, and it gives the relationship a chance to balance in a way that feels healthy, not desperate. So the next time you feel tempted to chase clarity, defend your feelings, or explain your worth, pause. Let your silence speak for you. Sometimes it says more than any words ever could. There's a common misconception that being soft means being weak. That if you're gentle, you'll get taken advantage of. That if you express emotion, show care, or speak with kindness, you'll be seen as naive or powerless. But real softness, true feminine softness, is not about being passive. It's about being grounded, intentional, and emotionally intelligent. Softness isn't about shrinking yourself or ignoring your needs. It's not saying yes to everything or tolerating behavior that doesn't feel good to your soul. Being soft is having the strength to stay connected to your heart, even when it would be easier to harden up. It's the courage to remain open in a world that constantly tells women to toughen up, just to survive. Men don't fall in love with force. They fall in love with feeling, and softness creates that emotional space. It makes you feel safe, nurturing, yet untouchable in the most beautiful way. It says, I'm strong enough to stay soft, even in the presence of pressure. So no, you don't need to be louder to be heard. You don't need to be aggressive to be taken seriously. The most powerful women in the room are often the quietest. Their energy speaks for them. Their softness makes people lean in. And their boundaries, though gentle, are unshakable. Being soft is not your weakness, it is your edge. And when you embrace it fully, you become unforgettable. Not because you demanded attention, but because you embodied something rare, power, with grace. There's a moment in every dynamic when something shifts, when you stop showing up the same way, and he starts paying closer attention. It's not when you post a thirst trap. It's not when you try harder. It's not when you send a long text explaining your worth. It's when you pull your energy back, not in anger, not to punish, but in quiet self-respect. That's the move. That's the thing he notices. Because here's the truth. Men are deeply attuned to energy. He may not consciously realize it, but he feels it when you're no longer emotionally available in the same way. When you're no longer overextending, overanalyzing, or offering constant access to your presence. He feels the shift before you ever say a word. When you stop showing up with the pick-me energy, when you no longer try to prove your value or maintain the connection with effort, it unsettles him. Not because you're playing a game, but because you've quietly reminded him that you were never his possession. You were a privilege. What makes this so powerful is the subtlety. You're still warm. You're still graceful, but your attention becomes selective. You're not texting first. You're not reacting immediately. You're not jumping through hoops to keep his interest. You've taken your seat back on the throne, and now he feels the difference. He starts to wonder why you're quieter, why you're not as easily accessible. And that curiosity sparks something primal, pursuit. He wants to know what changed. He thinks about you more, not because you're reaching for him, but because you're no longer reaching at all. This shift also sends a deeper message. I trust myself more than I need your validation. That energy, it's rare, it's magnetic, it doesn't scream for attention, it attracts it. And let's be clear, this isn't about manipulation. This isn't about pretending. This is about realignment. It's about choosing yourself first, emotionally detaching from outcomes, and releasing the need to be chosen, because you've already chosen you. It's a quiet, graceful detachment, a change in posture, a calm withdrawal of energy that says, I'm not begging, I'm observing. And trust me, He notices. He feels your absence in the space where your energy used to pour into him. He may not admit it, but he'll test the waters. He'll reach out. He'll try to regain that access. And that's when you'll know the shift worked. The most impactful thing you can do isn't loud, emotional, or reactive. It's the soft reclaiming of your energy. It's the decision to lean back. It's trusting that your presence is powerful enough to speak even in your silence. Do this, and he won't just notice. He'll chase. Mixed signals are one of the most emotionally draining experiences in modern dating. 1 minute, he's all in, calling, texting, giving you attention. The next, he's distant, inconsistent, or just busy. You're left over analyzing everything. Was it something I said? Should I reach out again? Is he losing interest? And slowly, you'll find yourself giving more than you're receiving, just to keep the connection alive. But here's something no one tells you. When a man is inconsistent, your words won't fix it. Your over-explaining won't clear it up. Your vulnerability won't pull him closer. In fact, the more effort you put into decoding him, the more power you silently hand over. The antidote to mixed signals, silence. Not silence out of spite, not the cold shoulder, but silence as a boundary, silence as self-respect, silence as the most dignified, feminine response to uncertainty. Because here's what mixed signals really are. Emotional bait. They keep you engaged, confused, and emotionally attached without any clear direction. It's a cycle where you're constantly trying to earn consistency from someone who should be offering it freely. But when you stop responding, when you choose stillness over chasing clarity, you flip the dynamic completely. Your silence sends a very clear message. I don't entertain confusion. And that message is loud. When a man senses that he no longer has access to your emotional energy, something shifts in him. He begins to realize that your attention is a privilege, not a given. And instead of continuing the breadcrumb trail of half-effort and vague feelings, he's forced to do one of two things: rise to the occasion or fall away completely. Either way, your silence brings you clarity without the emotional exhaustion of constantly seeking answers. What makes silence so powerful is that it doesn't beg, it doesn't plead, and it doesn't break down trying to prove its worth. It simply is. It's presence without performance. And in that space, a man begins to feel what he was avoiding, the consequences of being unsure about you. The reason most women fear silence is because they associate it with rejection or being forgotten. But silence isn't passive, it's strategic. It's giving the relationship space to breathe, to reveal truth. Because someone who is genuinely interested in you will not be confused for long. He will feel the absence of your warmth and want it back. Not because you chased him, but because you didn't. Mixed signals stop working when there's no one there to decode them. When you stop reacting to the highs and lows, and instead withdraw your energy. You stop being part of his emotional game. You reclaim your peace. You stop spinning your wheels, waiting for him to show up how you hoped he would. In your silence, you're not doing nothing. You're doing the most powerful thing you can do. You're protecting your softness, preserving your dignity, and making space for clarity to find you. So the next time his messages get shorter, his calls become rare, or his energy just feels off, don't jump into panic mode. Don't try to fix it. Let your silence speak. Let him feel what life is like when he doesn't have easy access to you. And if he doesn't notice, if he doesn't step up, that silence just saved you months of heartache. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is say absolutely nothing. You don't have to explain every boundary you set. In fact, some of the most powerful boundaries are the ones you never verbalize. They're simply felt. They live in your energy, in your behavior, in what you allow and what you walk away from. Boundaries without words are quiet acts of self-respect that speak volumes without a single conversation. A lot of women are taught to be nice, to accommodate, to avoid making others uncomfortable. So when it comes time to set a boundary, there's often guilt. You over-explain. You overcompensate. You soften your no to sound more like a maybe. But here's the truth. When your boundaries are rooted in self-worth, they don't need permission or performance. For example, when a man texts you at midnight after ignoring you all day, you don't need to write a long message about how you deserve more. You simply don't respond. When someone keeps canceling plans last minute, you don't have to confront them with a speech. You just stop making yourself available. When the energy isn't consistent, you don't beg for it to change. You adjust your access. This is the essence of non-verbal boundaries. They're not about punishing or manipulating. They're about alignment. They're about showing, not telling, how you expect to be treated. And the right people will recognize those shifts, feel them, and respond accordingly. The wrong ones will either test you harder or fade away entirely. And both reactions are information. What makes these boundaries so powerful is that they come from a place of calm, not chaos. You're not reactive. You're not trying to prove a point. You're just moving in a different direction. That kind of energy is magnetic. It shows that you value your peace more than you value attention, that you'd rather be alone than tolerated, that you don't need someone to validate your needs before honoring them yourself. A woman who enforces boundaries without words is one who knows her power. She doesn't need to announce it. It's in the way she carries herself, the way she pauses before responding, the way she protects her time and energy, like the sacred things they are. This doesn't mean you never communicate. Of course, clarity and honesty have their place in healthy relationships, but not every situation calls for a dialogue. Sometimes the boundary is simply, I don't respond to disrespect. I don't chase confusion. I don't overextend when I'm underappreciated. You don't owe anyone an explanation for treating yourself with care. You don't have to convince anyone to respect you. Your energy will do that on its own if you let it. And here's the magic. When you start living with quiet boundaries, you attract people who just get it. People who don't push, who notice your silence and adjust, who understand your value because you've shown it, not by talking about it, but by living it. So the next time someone tests your limits, ask yourself, do I need to explain? Or do I simply need to exit? Do I need to defend my standard? Or just hold it? Your softness doesn't mean you have to be open to everything. Your warmth doesn't require you to accept inconsistency. You can be kind and still have limits. You can be loving and still say no. And when you do it without drama, without noise, just quiet, steady self-respect, it hits different. That's the kind of woman who commands love, not chases it. There's a certain kind of woman a man never forgets. She doesn't beg. She doesn't chase. She doesn't over-explain or try to prove her worth. She simply leans back, holds her energy like it's gold, and trusts her value so deeply that even when he pulls away, she stays calm. That woman, that's the one he always comes back to. It's not magic. It's energy. And once you understand how to harness that energy, you'll start to notice a pattern. The same men who once drifted or acted unsure begin circling back. They start to miss your softness, your peace, your mystery. And the reason is simple. Your absence taught them more than your presence ever could. When a man senses that you're no longer emotionally accessible, when he feels that shift from your warmth to your stillness, it triggers something in him, especially if he's used to you showing up first, always making it easy, always being there. The moment you stop doing all of that, without making a scene or announcing your exit, he feels it. He starts to wonder why you're different now, why you're not texting, why you're not reacting. That curiosity grows into reflection. And that's when the chase begins again. Not because you manipulated him, but because you step back into your power. This isn't about playing games. It's not about trying to control him. It's about holding your standard. It's about understanding that if he really values you, he'll notice your silence. He'll notice your detachment. And he'll move, because real interest doesn't stay comfortable with distance. Here's the truth. Men are drawn to women who know when to walk away, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. That graceful exit, that calm silence, it creates a vacuum, and energy always seeks to fill a vacuum. The more you pull back, the more he starts leaning in, not because you asked him to, but because he can feel what he's losing. He remembers how you made him feel safe, seen, desired, and he realizes that those feelings aren't easy to replace, especially when you're no longer offering them freely. That's when the messages come. The "I've been thinking about you" texts, the unexpected calls, the casual check-ins disguised as something small, because he wants to see if the door is still open. The more grounded you are in your feminine energy, the more effortlessly this happens, because you're not waiting, you're not obsessing, you're living, you're glowing, you've reclaimed your emotional space and redirected it inward to your peace, your passions, your joy. And that's exactly what makes you irresistible. What pulls him back is not the effort you make toward him, it's the effort you make toward yourself. So yes, watch him come back. Watch him realize what he lost when he thought you'd always be there. Watch him reappear, not because you chased, but because you finally stopped. You gave him a chance to feel the void your energy used to fill. And remember this, just because he comes back doesn't mean you have to let him in. The real win isn't just getting him to return. It's being so rooted in your worth that you get to decide whether he still qualifies for access to your heart. Because once a woman remembers her power, she never has to beg for love again. Now that you've learned how to embody softness, how to respond to mixed signals with silence, and how to create unspoken boundaries that command respect, let's bring it all together. Because this journey isn't about changing him. It's about realigning with you. Here's what you need to remember. The version of you who is calm, grounded, radiant, and unattached to outcomes, that's the version who wins. That's the woman who doesn't chase, doesn't overthink, and doesn't question whether she's enough. She knows she is, and from that energy, she attracts men who want to earn a place in her life, not just occupy it temporarily. If a man is confused about you, don't try to convince him. If he's distant, don't chase him down. If he's inconsistent, don't question your worth. Your power lies in what you do not do. No response is a response. Silence is a statement. And when you hold your energy with intention, the world around you starts to respond differently. So what should you do next? Start by making a quiet commitment to yourself. Promise that you'll no longer seek love through effort, through proving, or through self-sacrifice. Promise that you'll stop showing up where you're only partially valued. Promise that you'll choose peace over chaos every single time. This doesn't mean you close your heart. It means you open it to the right things, to men who are clear, intentional, and emotionally safe, to relationships that feel like rest, not survival, to love that flows toward you naturally, not one that requires you to chase it down. You are allowed to choose you, again and again. And the most beautiful part, when you do, everything begins to change. You stop tolerating confusion. You stop explaining your worth. You stop dimming your light just to be seen. You become magnetic without even trying. If a man returns after feeling your absence, watch his actions, not his words. The real shift happens when you no longer get emotionally pulled back in by apologies or temporary effort. You sit back, you observe, you let him show you who he is. And more importantly, you give yourself full permission to walk away if it doesn't align with your truth anymore. So as you close this video, take a breath, drop back into your body, remember who you are, and remind yourself that you never have to fight for love. The love meant for you will feel clear, safe, and aligned. And until it arrives, you become that love for yourself.